Thank you, Mama T and the March, for singing us in. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's that time of the day again. It's time for myself, the incomparable Bobby Sampson. And I'm joined by the master, the king of the jungle, the ruler of the forest, Amazon, rain, dry. It doesn't matter what kind of forest it is. No bear has a leg up on this bear. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring to you the one and only, my mentor and my brother, Professor Bear. How you doing, brother?
Man, I am doing good. The one thing that I don't think I will ever get used to is your great intros. I mean, it is so humbling that I have a partner that is such a master with words and makes me feel good even when I'm feeling down, man. It's tremendous to work with you.
Thank
And
you,
I
sir.
have to tell you on camera, I love you
No, I
and
love you too, brother.
appreciate everything you
Absolutely.
do for us.
Feelings are mutual, my brother. Feelings are mutual across the board. I bring you up, you bring me up, and that's why our show is always up. You know what I am saying? Viagra Cialis is not needed here because we're always rock hard and ready to go. Yes, sir, ladies and gentlemen. I said it. We are Gen X. We don't give a fuck. Well, I mean, maybe me more so in terms of the filter, but hey, that's how we balance each other. Isn't that the way it is, Professor Bear?
Yes, sir.
Now, once again, we did a faux pas, and the same faux pas took place on the other shows that I participate on. We completely forgot about Redemption, AEW's pay per view. And here's the shitty part, it was in Canada, man, of all places, and I still forgot. Now, I thought of a million excuses, but the reality of it is I just plumb forgot. I speak for myself on that front. I forgot. I don't know. Did AEW promote it enough for me to forget? Like I don't know. Like it's just these all these little different questions, but I'm sure they promoted the heck out of it. I'm sure they did what they were supposed to do with it, but for somehow it slipped through my wheelhouse, man.
Man, it happens. I mean, especially the way we look at wrestling and cover wrestling, and then on top of that, you are doing boxing. You have so much in your wheelhouse. And this weekend, um, I was doing so many local independent shows
Yeah.
that I knew about it, and I was there, man. And just quick side note, I got a chance to see AJ Styles' son,
Okay.
and I got to see Big Luke Gallows' son together as a tag team.
Well, look at
And
the next generation arise.
man, it was a great blessing to see that live. They put on a tremendous card. Let me give a shout out to New Generation Wrestling. Amazing. And the other show I went to, they always put on great shows, is Elevate Pro Wrestling. And
Amazing.
it was great. So that's why I didn't I tried to watch the pay-per-view after I got home. I made it through half of it, and I'm almost ashamed to say I still hadn't watched all of it
All right.
because it went to the exact way I thought it would, except for one match. But
Okay. 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 Well, here's my thing. Here's why I look at it. Yes, I covered a lot of boxing this weekend. It was a very heavy, heavy boxing weekend for us on the other side of that spectrum. Um, come Sunday, I don't know if I don't think it's fair to say that we can suffer from wrestling burnout because we're lucky to get to watch as much as we get to do. We're lucky to get to do all the things that we get to do. But burnout is an actual thing, Professor Bear. And I do believe it hit me with this because I knew the show afterwards. Like I knew Friday, oh, the show's coming. Okay. And that's when I realized, oh, we dropped the ball, not on this show, but the other shows as well that I just participate in. And the show came on, and I couldn't watch. I watched, I kept watching, but my mind and my heart wasn't into it as it normally is. I was just watching a wrestling show at that point. And I think a couple of weeks ago, I said something to you about AEW, and I'm going to double down on it because AEW, in my opinion, the matches were great last night. Or yeah, the matches were great a couple nights ago. No problem with the matches. They're always putting on good matches, but shit, man, I'm telling you, the product is getting stale. Okay, and when I say stale, I'm not talking about. Well, maybe I am talking about that. When I'm watching this match with the Young Bucks and Edge and Christian, for example, it felt like I was reading an Archie comic that I have in my washroom that I can look at the cover and I know all the stories inside. You know that?
Oh
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
All right. And for the young generation, Archie was our comic in the washroom. Okay. On a side note, I saw the double digest. I swear to God, dude, the double digest is what a regular digest was for us. It takes three of those double digests to make what a double digest was for us.
Right,
I'm
right.
just saying. But look, here's the reality of it. When I watched that match, I said, okay, here comes the BTS triggers. Okay, here comes this. It's almost like every move has its spot on their set list.
Yeah.
And even though they still look cool, even though it still looks fun, even though it still has impact, when I say the show's getting stale, all their matches have the same formula. When the
It,
Bucks come out, you know what moves they're going to do. When Edge and Christian come out, you know what they're going to do. That's a problem for me at a certain point.
I can totally agree with you with that. It's it's like when I got to see Bret Hart, and this was in his hate Ric Flair days.
Oh, okay.
He was like, oh my God, you watch a Flair match, you know what's going to happen. It's going to be chop, chop, woo, woo, throw to the turnbuckle, do the flip. So I definitely understand what you're talking about. And for what I seen of the pay-per-view, it was that for me. Okay, they're going to do this. This is going to happen. And it was like, ugh. And again, the action was good. It wasn't like, oh my God, I they sucked or anything. The action was good, but it was so predictable. And for me, once I get to that stage where it's like, okay, this is gonna happen, it's gonna lead to this, it it automatically gets boring.
Thank you.
And
And that's where I'm at with it.
right,
Right.
and that's why I said I definitely get it. I watched another show that I watched, and they were like, "This was AEW's B show," and it was. They compared it to Roadblock going into WrestleMania. It
Yeah.
was just a filler, and it was, and I get what they were doing, but when you do that, you might as well just not have the pay-per-view.
Well,
Use
I
that
mean,
to build
yeah.
on TV to bring in more of your audience. That's the way I feel.
No, you're not wrong, Bear. I completely agree with you on that. And that's the sad part. Like, it was a good show. The crowd was hot. Montreal is always hot, right? I mean,
Yeah.
everything you expect from an AEW show, action wise, it was there. But it's the same action that we saw 3 years ago that we were saying, wow, this is absolutely amazing. And I think this is where it separates WWE from AEW because the focus is on entertainment. The entertainment keeps you engaged in WWE, right? But when you do get a crazy spot match or a crazy spot in WWE, it still stands out because you don't get it consistently. Where with WAEW, every match is a spot fest, every match is a highlight reel. and it's fine and dandy and everything, right? I mean, dude, it's like this, man. I think this is the only way I can really describe it. It's like if you sleep with two women the first few times, it's absolutely amazing. But by the 10th time, you're just sleeping with two chicks. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, and
Yeah.
that's the way I'm
But
looking at it. You're still sleeping with two chicks. That's fucking awesome. But it's now okay. I'm sleeping with two chicks.
exactly. This the magic is gone. And that to me for this and for any show to be truthful is like it's easy to get burnt out. It's easy to like, man, I okay, yeah, I'm gonna watch it, but I'm not gonna watch it. I'm not mentally there.
Yeah.
It's it's because I feel like to be updated to make sure that what I do, I'm knowledgeable on. I'm watching this.
Well, and at that point, like last night, and I hate to use this word, but it felt like I had to work on Sunday night, which
Yeah.
is something I don't like to use that word. You know what I mean? In terms of what
Oh
we
yeah.
get to do. Look, but
Exactly.
look, the show was good. Okay. It gave us what we expected. Um, but what was the one match that you were going to talk about?
So the one match that shocked me, and it was a good. They did the right thing. I should have seen it coming, but I didn't. Was Maya World winning the TBS championship? They after her brother passed away,
Yeah.
they that they laid it out for us. I knew they were going to do something with her to get her in that tier.
Yeah.
The TBS championship, I did not expect Sheila to lose so quickly. I thought, and I still think Sheila has something with the heel gimmick. My World winning was great. The match was tremendous. The finish was kind of
Yeah.
wonky, but it was the right thing to do, and I think it put some good context on her.
The one thing that AEW doesn't do enough is push their women's division, yet their women's division, in my honest opinion, and this show for me again, the two women's matches were probably my favorite matches on the whole card, just in terms of being different and being, I'm not saying they were better than Kenny Omega and, Kevin Knight. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying in terms of watching, those were my favorite matches to watch because they were different. She's a day one. I mean,
Oh
we
yeah,
can't forget this, right? That girl has been there since the beginning. And to be fair, man, between you and I, is it just me or is she like gotten bigger?
yeah, she has, she
Okay,
has.
okay, right? Because most of these Japanese girls are waifs, right? Like, and whatnot. She's
She's
she
picked up
she
that
stepped
motion.
away and she's good at what she does. I don't know. I think I like her more as a face because that's how I was introduced to her, but I do like her heelish side. And let's not forget Willow Nightingale. Ladies and gentlemen, your first Grand Slam women's champion in AEW, two-time.
No, you're right.
No,
You're
she's
right
the first.
because
Yeah,
yeah,
she's the first.
because which color hadn't won the tag
Yeah,
titles.
yeah, yeah. So she's the first. That was a shock to me. I didn't think there, the way Tekla has been going and all the stuff I've been saying about Tekla, the fact that she
But
dropped it to Willow.
I told you she was going to lose it to Willow,
Yeah,
and and the thing is, unfortunately, this is not going to be a long reign for Willow.
probably not.
This is a setup for Miss
Monet.
Boss
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
to
yeah. Mercedes.
yeah, and in a way, I don't know how happy or upset I am about it because again, I will push that off. Let me talk about Tekla.
Okay.
Tekla is super amazing. Like you, I enjoy Tekla. She has that that a lot of women don't have. The problem with Tekla was They didn't have a good face to challenge her. And that's the problem. And I tell people this all the time. No matter who your champion is, I don't care who they are. If you don't have good challengers for them to make them look incredible, that's why Hogan looked as powerful as he looked in the 80s. Ric Flair. Flair could take a broom and make them look credible.
Oh yeah.
So not everybody has that gift of being able to. And again, as much as people know I'm not a Hogan fan, hadn't been and won't be, but I respect what Hogan did for the industry. And in the 80s, he could take any heel and get them that that push, that build up to make them seem credible. So, and I'm not just saying this that in that time they could do it, but now the companies don't make that as credible, as important, because you can see it in WWE why Cody's reign, a lot of people are sick of Cody, is because they didn't make his opponents. It felt like Punk said, everybody turned their changed on you. You use the same formula again, you will get burnt out.
Yeah, no, I
So
mean that's across the board though, right? I mean, it's just like,
yes,
but we're a fickle society. It's like what we talked about. If WW, if I'm saying AEW is stale, it's the same vein. People can say this is stale about Cody Rhodes. I get it completely, right?
yes,
Another way of describing it is when I was a little kid, my grandmother had made this dish, and I made the mistake of saying, "This is really, really good." For the next 5 years, every time I ever went over to the house, that dish was always made. You know what I mean? So
yes.
it's like you can enjoy something so much. Like I'll say, maple walnut ice cream is my favorite ice cream, but if I were to eat it for 2 weeks straight every day,
You burnt.
it would still be my favorite ice cream, but I wouldn't want it anymore.
Yeah, you burnt out.
Right? You know what I mean? It's just the
It,
same
it,
thing. Less,
it's
less is more. Less
it's
is
funny.
more.
It's funny because it's summertime. I'm gonna talk about stereotypes. I'm a big watermelon guy,
Oh, there's a
and
stereotype to that? I didn't know.
oh yeah,
Or I'm being
black
facetious.
people. So a lot of people just think watermelon is they have just red, but they actually have different colors of watermelon.
Yeah. There's different strains.
Right. So I'm a big yellow watermelon person. My parents introduced it to me as a kid. I love it to this day. So certain times of the year, which is like July to early August, that's the peak time for it.
Oh, okay.
So I'm always looking for it, always looking for it. Well, I was looking for it and found out a place close to my house got it. So I got to get it no matter what.
I understand.
Well, I went and bought it. They overcharged me for it. And I
Yeah.
knew they overcharged, but I didn't care. I wanted my yellow watermelon. I got it, cut it up, put it in the refrigerator, let it get cold. It was okay.
I
It
know.
was
Isn't
okay.
that the worst feeling in the world?
Yes, yes.
Right? I was gonna say I quickly turned my filter on. I was gonna say something. I stopped myself there. Give me an award. Give me a star. I was gonna say something so wrong. It's like when you go to the bar and then you find a girl and then you go home. I'm gonna stop there. Stop. You're all excited and shit. You did, yes, finally I win. And then you get home. I'll leave it there. You can fill in the rest, everyone. You can
Yes,
fill in the
yes.
rest. And this is why I'm Bobby Sampson. I'm working really, really hard to get that switch on my neck fixed. And hey, it worked. It kind of worked. It kind of worked. I still kind of
Hey,
got it out.
hey, I'm proud of you. You knew where to draw the line.
I still got it out, but left it there. But everybody knew where I was going. So I left it alone. I left it alone. All right. Listen, let's move here because before we go to SummerSlam, we got to go to the go home show. And I said this earlier this morning on Samp and Chance, and I said, one of the biggest things that I looked forward to more than a pay-per-view was the go home show. Because yeah, I have to go to the 90s and maybe to the early 2000s, maybe even to 2010s, maybe even. But those go home shows were important for the pay-per-view more than the 3 weeks or 4 or 5 weeks leading up to the show. That last show wrapped it all up and left me wanting to go to Sunday. I didn't care that Monday was the next day. I couldn't wait for Sunday because I knew what we were going to get. I was excited. I was ready. The art of the go home show is dead, my friend, in my opinion. And we saw that again last night. The one angle that had the most impact of the night was Division. They're not even on SummerSlam. The Brock Lesnar Obafemi weigh-in was a complete joke. And I feel stupid now because I was defending Triple H this morning, but then I read an article later on in the day to find out that he was completely behind all of it. He was controlling it. He was calling audibles on the fly in the ring. Why set up? And you know what? Chance is right. I have to say, when Chance is right, he was right about this. Why even build the Hell in the Cell if Brock wasn't going to go in it? What was the point of all that?
A waste of time. Waste.
Okay.
It, I would say I was lucky because I didn't catch that part of Raw.
The first 15
and,
minutes.
and I thought to myself when I saw it, I'm like, what you spent in labor for these guys and girls to build this Hell in the Cell for nothing.
In California.
They had more impact with the cage during they did the commercial of the cage talking about how lethal it was than that part of it. It like you, the art of the go home shows, nobody masters that anymore. No one
No.
understands the importance of driving home that, oh yes, oh man, I can't wait, I need to know it, I
Yeah.
need to feel
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And now it's
And
like,
that's what he used to do. Even when
yeah,
WWE was horrible. I'm talking WrestleMania 15 and 16 airs. The go home show was still very powerful, and look, I know they were trying to do it through segments and things like that. We got interaction with EO and Liv. They hit each other pretty hard. That match, in my opinion, is still 50-50. We'll talk about it when we get to the predictions. I think where they really dropped the ball last night, the first 4 minutes of it, first 2-3 minutes of it was amazing, and then the rest of it just fell apart. And I have a vested interest in this segment because a boxer came out as well. I'm talking about Danhausen and Joe Hendry. Okay, what are they doing with Joe Hendry? He's right up there with Rusev. He's right up there with Woo Woo Woo, Matt Cardona. And you know what? We'll talk about Baron Corbin when we get to Baron Corbin. But like the song was great. I was having a laugh. I thought Danhausen was hilarious. But then they went into that whole arm waving thing, which just was stupid, into a Congo line. Why did they need the LA Clipper dancers out there? All these things. And then Ryan Garcia shows up. Okay. And I'm thinking, oh, okay, this is interesting. Now, for me, it's interesting because he's not with Zuffa Boxing, who's owned by TKO, I guess, in a certain way, who owns WWE, but he's paraded out there like he's a part of Zuffa, which is really interesting from a whole different universe.
right.
Okay, that's what I'm now interested in. And then he turns heel. He was already a heel in real life. He's not even acting or pretending to be. All right. And the reason I say that, my one gripe with the guy, and I think I have a gripe with a lot of athletes in that genre, if you're going to go up there and thank Jesus Christ and say he's your savior and your Lord, and then you go and call someone a cunt, that's all I'm saying. You don't live it, you preach it, you want everyone else to, yeah, God is great, and God is great, absolutely. But you're in a position where you need to show a little bit of that as well.
Yeah.
And I feel that a lot of these athletes are lost on that. They thank God, they do that, but then they go do stupid stuff.
Oh yeah.
Right. So, anyways, that's my whole little tangent. The Garcia teams up with Dom and JD. Now, my first reaction was, shouldn't he be with Logan in the Vision if you're going to bring out Ryan Garcia? But then Chad said something that kind of made sense to me that I thought about it. He looked too small in front of Logan and Braun because he's a welterweight. He's only 147, maybe
Right.
160, when he's not training, sort of a deal. But having Ryan Garcia out there was kind of interesting, but that segment was horrible
I've
overall.
I've I've heard people say it's the most terriblest thing this year, and
Oh, no, no, no. Okay, you know what? So before we leave AEW, there's one more thing I want to talk about really, really quick, which I think is probably the most horrible and most disgusting thing I've seen in pro wrestling in a very, very long time. What the fuck is wrong with Mick Foley? Like, is Tony Khan trying to emasculate him? Is it, like that's coming from somewhere? Why is he barking like a really bad? It wasn't even a good impression of a dog.
I,
What are you doing, Mick? You're better than that, especially with those two. Who are they?
it's an amazing thing. Both times that I've seen Mick, I thought, the fuck are y'all doing with a legend? This is so effing embarrassing. Even, at least with Willow and Tekla, they show respect for him. And Willow did, and Tekla played the perfect heel. That made sense. The barking shit.
No, no, but dude, it was just so demeaning. It looked uncomfortable. Okay, try act whatever you want to say, dude. That was just horrible. And when we're talking about Golden Boy Tony, he okayed this shit. So what's his point? What's he trying to drive at here? And if this is the case, if you look at all the legends that they brought on, have they given any of them proper anything? It almost feels like he brings them in just to fucking spite them. That's what I'm starting
Uh,
to think. I could be wrong. I could be completely off base. But that's just what I see, man. And that dog barking stuff was just horrible, dude.
and the one thing that I've read that Mick did that on the fly.
Well, Mick's got to stop doing stuff on the fly, guy. That's not cool. Like, regardless of what it was
it,
uncomfortable.
it came off horrible.
Look, if it was Bailey and if it was Charlotte, if it was Bailey, if it was anyone, I could have seen, okay, I could get around it. But the two girls there too just look so awkwardly out of place. The segment was horrible.
Yeah,
But that being said, Bear, that being said, I'm just going to leave that there. What are you going to So, you say that's the most horrible thing. Well, what I saw on AEW with Mick Foley was completely
well,
horrible.
hey, I'm just saying what I read and what
I
they said.
appreciate that. Well, you know what? It's the Danhausen, that wasn't too far off. Okay, we'll give it what it was. All right. Well,
Well,
at least the one thing they did in AEW, and maybe they hurt us, maybe they hurt Sans and I as well. They changed Omega heel at the
yeah,
end of the show, which is weird. They're building up Osprey, but I guess they want him going in as a babyface.
yeah, you definitely do. Being that's quote unquote his hometown, and it has to have meaning to it. So I get it. That's fine. I think that you didn't necessarily need Kenny to be the heel because Kenny has that aura about himself that you this could have been the Ultimate Warrior Hogan match. Not
Sure.
every match has to follow the same formula. And honestly, for me, I think it would have meant more to a beat a face Kenny versus beating the heel Kenny. I think it would mean more and stand out more.
So do you think they did that because they needed to make the Bucks bad again so they could go up against Christian and Edge?
I don't think they're gonna be
They're all together, right?
well, yeah, but
Again.
sometimes you have that tweener feel because let's face it, with all of them, they've jumped back and forth so many damn times that the Big Show sits on the sideline like, what?
Well, this is the thing. And I can never take the Bucks seriously as faces because of all the heinous things they've done. It's like, how can you say enough when it wasn't enough when you were doing it?
It,
And
again,
you're not that far removed from when you were doing it, which makes it more hard to digest as a character work. If we're just talking character, right? It's hard to digest. But listen, we talked about which company will rule the summer. Okay. And the first part of that puzzle happens this weekend with SummerSlam in Minneapolis, 2 nights. Ticket sales are horrible. Okay, we don't need to get into it too deep. We're just going to talk about it really quick. Ticket sales are horrible. The show's okay for the most part. I mean, we're still going to
yeah,
tune in. But when I look at this card bear, and I think I said this to you about WrestleMania, and I think this is going to be the case again when we look at this card. Night one is your preliminary night. Okay, there's some good matches on night one, but again, this is prime example to me that SummerSlam, WrestleMania should only be one night because night two of SummerSlam is stacked. So if you're
and,
ready, yes.
and well, I was gonna say the one thing that confused me, they're having both 6-person tag team matches on the same night. I'm like,
Well, and we'll
why?
get to that because if you look at night one, okay, there's only one title. No, I'm sorry. There's two title matches on night one.
Well, yeah, the live
Okay,
in
right.
EO.
But if you look at night two, every match except one or except two. Wait a minute. No, give me a second here. Unless you want to call money's on a pole match,
Oh,
something to fight for. But I
ugh,
mean, outside of that one and the number one contender match, which should not be on this card, every match otherwise they're all title matches. You would have thought they'd put the Intercontinental on one night and the US title on one night, but they got
exactly.
both of them happening on the same night.
And no tag team
Titles
defense.
on either brand, right?
That
So
just go ahead. I'm sorry.
no. I mean, I think I know where you're going with this. It's just like this is the opportunity to bring out that fresh young talent and give them a space to perform on, right?
Yeah,
I mean, Chance mentioned it on our show that he noticed that Braun, he looks kind of pissed off with the direction. He's not too happy, just the way he was throwing his punches last night and stuff. And I went back and took a look this afternoon quickly before we came on, and yeah, I could see that a little bit. Um, but we'll get into it, man. Let's just break down this card really quick,
yes,
make
sir.
our predictions, and get going here in no particular order. Okay, CM Punk, Cody Rhodes. Um,
It's going to be a Cody win. Um, Unfortunately, I think they're using the same formula that they did last year when he got the title back from Cena.
okay. I'm gonna go the other way. I think Punk wins. I think Punk still runs with it. I think we see an evolution of Punk of the old Punk starting to emerge again. I think at the end of this match, I don't know which one, but one will become a heel. Okay. And that's what I think. I don't think Cody needs a title. I think, if they put it back on them, then you truly know that these guys have no clue what they're doing. All right. And I know a lot of people don't like the idea of Punk being champion either, but I'll take Punk over Cody right now. I don't need Cody being champion for the moment. Cody doesn't need to be champion for the next year. There's enough for him to work with. There's enough stories to go around with, and I think it's Punk's right now. And I'll tell you who I think could potentially be the next guy in line to
All
kind of
right.
feud with him as we go along this card.
All right.
All right. So you're going Cody, I'm going Punk.
Yes, sir.
All right, all right. Hell in the Cell, Oba, Brock. For me, it's a pretty much done deal. Oba's gonna win.
Yes, definitely.
If everything is right, we've been hearing this since last year that this is where Brock wants to call it a day. Maybe this is where it happens. This match should be good. I'm expecting a good match out of it. Formulated match, obviously, as best as possible, but it's gonna be slow, it's gonna be methodical, 15, 20 minutes. Oba wins, Brock retires. I don't think there's much more to say to that.
Uh, so much so I'm not even gonna say anything.
Fair play. Now, this one here for me is the 50-50. Liv versus Io. It's a 50-50 match. It's not as cut and dry as I thought it was going to be because even on Raw, both ladies took their best shots from each other. So no one's left kind of standing dominant. With Raquel now winning the Women's Intercontinental Championship and Roxanne being a big part of that victory, is it those two going against Liv? I don't know if that's something that's going to happen here. Does Liv retain? She's held it. She's only defended it once. Maybe give it to Io.
Yeah, this is one of those matches that they have done very little with. It's been the same archaic build up to interference. I just
But
and I
Io beat
don't
her
want
clean though. But Io beat her clean in Saudi.
yeah, but it's almost that feeling for me of I'm at the point they're almost making me not give a damn about the women's division.
Fair enough.
And and I'm so irritated by that. But I honestly think it'd be a good thing to let EO win. At least she can have challengers and defend the title a little bit more. And then that will give Stephanie somebody to fight as far as her
We've not
return.
seen her since Mania, right?
Right. That give her a chance to
Yeah,
go after Liv.
yeah.
And if my hope is correct, somebody will be back and they will have caution when they see him.
Well, hey man, I mean, she's already had the child, right?
It's been a while.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe she's just getting, all tuned up and tightened up and just like that
That
song, Tighten Up. All right.
and if it don't happen the weekend, Monday would be perfect for her to re-debut.
Merch. Yeah,
Man,
no.
and
And
set
she was on
reset
fire when she
title.
left. And she was on fire when she left. Absolutely. We're talking about Naomi, if you didn't
Yes.
know. All right. How far have the mighty fallen Gunther versus Nick Aldis? I'm actually interested because I like Nick a lot.
This match is going to be so much better than people understand
Yeah.
because a lot of people don't understand or know Nick's background when it comes to wrestling. So
Yeah.
they're going to be very surprised. I think him and Gunther are going to work magic together. I'm looking for it's one of my looking forward to matches. The only thing that I hate that where this puts Gunther. He's not in the world title picture. Excuse me, the picture anymore. he's damned if he do, damned if he don't. If he wins, they're gonna be like, well, you just beat up a GM who been on the shelf for 2 years. If he loses, hey, you lost to a GM that most people didn't know was one of the greatest wrestlers in the world. So this does nothing for Gunther. And I'm so irritated that WWE is fumbling Gunther at this point.
We've been saying it for a while here, man. It's just like you put a rocket on the guy's back, then you take it off, you put it back on, you take it off, you put it back on. Like, how many more times are they going to do this with Gunther? Like, I feel bad for the guy because he has so much potential. That being said, I think Gunther wins. I mean, there's no way I could see it around. Like, if Gunther loses this, then we're in real trouble with him, right? And I don't want that to happen. I don't think it's going to affect all this anyway. Because, like you said, a lot of the younger fans don't know who he is and where he's been and what he's been. It's the same with Adam Pierce. People don't realize where this guy came from and what his background is, and
Exactly.
who he is. So, just that one thing. But that being said, I think Gunther wins.
Honestly, I honestly I think Nick will win.
Yeah, possibly, but if all this wins, what does that do? Like, you know what I mean? I'm
No,
just
no,
saying it big picture.
right, and that's my thing. Is like whether Gunther wins or loses, he'd lose because any form of this doesn't do his character not a damn bit of good.
I think the worst link in all of this is Sami Zayn, honestly. His involvement in everything, his need to be a part of everything, has kind of screwed everything up.
Well,
Like, with all due respect, I don't know who's dicky sucking backstage, man, because I mean, he's getting so like he's getting the opportunities that Braun Breaker should be getting. He's getting the opportunities that Carmelo Hayes should be getting. To be honest, like
I agree with you, but here's the caveat to me. It's not Sammy. It's the writers. It's the writers
no, no, I
because
get that, but
well,
he's
let me finish. Let me explain it real quick. It's their need to have visible name recognition in these positions. Sammy, if you look at what Sammy has done the last 3 years in WWE, and look where his projection has been, he's been a top mid card guy for 3 years. That they keep trying to figure out. Well, he's not marketable. He's not this and that. And I told you at the beginning of the year he was going to get the title, so they could put him in that position of,
and then I told
hey,
you when he's going to get the title.
and he's going to win the championship. So you can say, hey, he's a former champion. Now he has this. Well, I got cheated. Again, when you use the same formula over and over, people see it. It
Yeah,
gets, they're using the Drew McIntyre formula with Sammy.
with Sammy. But you know what though? At least Drew, and this is the thing, and I say this with all humility, because I mean I'm working towards it. I'm working really hard right now to get to that point. But that being said, do you feel they keep pushing Sammy down everyone's throat? I'm not, and I'm going to go to the female side of that equation as well. Okay, do you think they're doing that consistently to show that, hey, anyone can be successful? It doesn't matter what you look like, because wrestling has always been about the big guy, the muscular guy, the strong guy, blah blah blah. If you don't have this kind of physique, then you're just a guy in the crowd, sort of a deal. You know what I mean? Like, male body shaming is a normal practice, and no one says it's a bad thing. It's wrong to do. But if you body shame a woman, then oh my God, the gloves are off, the cavalry's at your front door. Next thing you know, you're blacklisted, you're A listed, you're blah blah blah, you're canceled. Is what they do if you say that. Do you think Willow Nightingale, with all the pushes and everything that she's getting, is to inspire young girls that may have body issues to feel motivated?
So it's two different things for me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start with Willow. I think no, that they see her pure talent.
Okay.
Willow is box office. I don't care anything. Her positivity
Yeah. Yeah.
is such an amazing thing that she's a star.
And she looks great. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying she doesn't
No,
look
no,
great.
no, no, and I understand what you're talking about, but I think it is truly that they see Willow can is a star. She's a
Mm,
top star. She can
mm.
be that. She's money. Now with Sammy's thing, I don't think they are not doing the body thing with them. I think this has been a formula WWE has done for so many years that they're trying to break is, you know, we have these top guys. When it comes to certain shows, we got to have the top guys be the money people. Well, now they're starting to see, well, geez, the people are not there anymore. We're losing them. Hogan's passed away. We can Austin is not coming back. Rock is doing rock things. Uh,
Gina's pretty much done.
so now it's like, hey, we only have a few. We got to milk the crap out of them. Your punks, your Codys,
Roman.
Roman,
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah.
We're gonna milk them until the wheels fall off. But we're gonna build certain people. Hey, we got to throw in a bonus, and that's with the Sammy thing. Sammy is a bonus, and again, I hate when I see certain things because I saw this was gonna come with Sammy. The fans love Sammy so much. He's that he has that tweener energy about him like Drew. So we can give them a little bit, but we won't give them a sustained push because yes, as much as people love them, they're money people. They're not going to draw, and a lot of times, and especially in today's sport, today's age of wrestling, you got to get out of they won't draw mentality because there are a lot of people who can draw if you would give them the damn chance and stop writing this crap
Yeah.
that these writers are writing. I beg any promotion, if you have writers, put somebody who knows what the fuck wrestling is about. Stop hiring people who write everything else but
But
wrestling.
yeah, no, I
And
agree.
you would be surprised on how well things could change when people can put in wrestling knowledge to your writing other things.
Well said. Well said, Professor. Listen, we still have two more matches of night one and then
All right.
night two to go here. But quickly, before we continue here with the Sami Zayn thing, I'm going to put a thought in your head that was put into my head. Where's WrestleMania next year?
That's over in Saudi.
Do you think they're keeping him relevant because they're going to put it back on him for that one more cheap pop?
I can see it. I can see them doing that.
Maybe that's why they're keeping him, above water.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely could see that. Um,
They already did it once. I don't know why they would want to do it again, but it makes sense.
smart business play
Hey,
as far as where you're going to be at, how to pop the crowd, and how to keep them more entertained. Just, I mean, look, they did that with Jinder Mahal
yeah.
when he won, and he had to tour over India.
But
Man,
gender was done specifically for that market. It had nothing to do with North America.
exactly. The Kofi thing, when Kofi won, where did they
Ghana.
send him? Right over to Africa.
Yeah, he sent him to
So,
Ghana. All right.
hey,
So let's move on here. 6-man tag team match. And this one I'm kind of looking forward to because it is kind of different. LA Knight, Solo Sikoa, Royce Keys versus Jacob Fatu and the Usos. Interesting because this can go in different directions here. I mean, it looked like, based on go home philosophy and methodology, by all measures, Jacob and the Usos should win this match, based on what we saw on Raw. But that being said, I don't, what if Solo turns on them?
Um, I don't. Yeah, it can happen.
But
Um,
Solo's done so well on his own.
Solo has done what nobody thought he could do. Well, let me say, a lot of wrestling fans who have knowledge of the bloodline thing,
Yeah,
they didn't think Solo could be bigger than Jacob. They didn't think he could stand a chance. He didn't have that ability to be entertaining. And man, me and you've talked about this. Man, Solo has did such an amazing job
absolutely.
low key, and now he getting the chance to really show his moxie. I enjoy it. Now with the match, this is to me is a Raw SmackDown match that the
Yeah,
only reason
well,
why it's getting
most of
any
night one is.
yeah. Yeah. The only reason why, because they need something to fill out the card.
No,
No,
honestly, most of it is.
yeah.
Night one
And
is basically Raw and SmackDown matches.
yeah, no disrespect to the athletes, but yeah, it I with all that
Honestly,
being said, I don't see why the bloodline would lose.
honestly, Sammy and Finn, Danhausen, Dominic could be moved to two, to night one, and Liv and
EO,
Punk would
EO,
move to night two.
yeah. Yeah, and I would move the ladder match to night one.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I mean, that's kind of what it is. All right, let's move on here then. Um, you know what? I think the Usos and Jacob win.
I do too.
That's where I'm going with that one. A second 6-person tag match involving the females, the Bella Twins and Paige against Fatal Influence. I feel this match could be better if they had more time to work with it. Respect to Fatal Influence getting onto the card. I mean, they've been given a huge push here, man. So, they're doing
Yeah.
good. They got tag team titles. I mean, they've probably been one bright light of the women's division over on SmackDown. Um, but I'm not interested in the match.
Oh, I'm not, and I already know the Bellas and Paige are gonna win. It
Yeah,
does nothing. It does nothing to hurt Fatal Influence. They got the titles now,
yeah,
and it's their little moment that the Bellas and Paige can have, and
for
they can
sure.
watch it back on pay-per-view or whatever the hell they call it now.
Yeah, yeah, PLEs, man, PLEs. All right, let's move on to night two. Let's get into it. Danhausen, Dominic Mysterio, money's on a pole match. I think Danhausen wins here. Something's got to give, right? I mean, enough's enough.
Let,
Okay,
let, let me do a little side thing. I thought nothing would be worse than fucking uh Judy Bagwell on the pole match. And they want to come with the monies on the pole match. Man, and that's all I wanted to say about that.
fair enough, man. That's all he needed to say about that. And we've pretty much given this guy so much of our show here today. Sami Zayn versus Finn Balor. Finn Balor for the win. I'll
Oh
just
yeah,
leave it at that.
definitely Finn.
All right,
They
now Trick Williams, Baron Corbin, Intercontinental title on the line,
US.
U.S. title on the line.
Um, I I don't see them stopping Trick momentum. I just
Okay,
don't.
okay, okay. So you're going Trick.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Baron. The reason I'm going Baron is you brought this guy back 3 weeks ago. Okay. He needs the title to be relevant, or else why would you bring him back and put him in a title fight right away? You need to keep him relevant. Punk needs to win, and Trick goes on to become the next feud. That's who I was talking about. Okay. It's time to move Trick up. He's ready. He's where Braun. Look, no, look. You got to give these guys a push, and this is you got to start it somewhere. Otherwise, that look that you just gave is going to be the same look every single time. Trick, out of all of the guys that we've talked about in terms of Braun, Carmelo, everyone, he's the only one that can go up right now, challenge for the title, lose, and be okay. But he's on that next level. He's where no one else is right now. Okay. He's got the pop. He's got the crowd behind him. It's not necessarily merch. I think he's got the one thing that's more important than merch. He has people doing his shit in different sporting events around the world.
Oh
And
yeah.
okay, Baron
I
needs
understand.
sorry, let me just very
Go ahead.
quickly, Baron needs the title, even if you don't think he does, because if you don't put it on him, then what he's saying about his return. Right?
Right.
Chad said, well, he'll just come out and start beating everyone up, be one man wrecking crew. Well, he's already the nomad. That's going to be his gimmick, anyways. You don't bring someone back like Baron Corbin and not put the title on him if you're going to put him in that kind of match. Don't put him in the match if you don't have that intention. He needs the belt to stay relevant, especially because he's back very fresh.
I definitely understand where you're coming from.
And he
I
can feud with
understand.
Carmelo easily.
I understand that. Here's a couple of things.
Sure.
I think you give Trick another win and let Burn take it at on SmackDown. The
Okay.
reason the reason why I say that, like you said, Trick is over, over.
Yeah.
So you want to have that momentum work because if people don't realize pay-per-view PLEs matches matter in the making them feel like when it's important on the big shows they can win. So I think Trick will win it. Now, as far as him going up to challenge for the world title, I don't believe if I had a choice, Braun would be wrecking shop. They dropped the ball with him, and not again. Trick and him are totally different because Trick has the charisma. He has the people. He could talk people in the building. They like that. Braun, on the other hand, it is his wrestling style. He can take and make punishment. That's the two difference. I think that they really effed up by not letting Braun continue his momentum. Trick, I don't believe, as much as I love Trick and he's came a long way, I say you hold him off for a year before you put him in that world title mix. That's my opinion
No,
about
and
and
I
I
think that's
definitely
fine.
and I understand where you're coming from about getting that young blood in there. I just don't think you want him to be a get. And I hate to say this because people are gonna look at me a certain way, but Punk does not need to bury another young athlete.
Okay, so is this look
Yeah,
that one I'm giving you right now?
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So when I look at Braun Breaker, okay, and I think he has all the potential in the world and he will be a world heavyweight champion, it will come down. He will be Roman or Seth in 10 years in terms of in terms of positioning and who he is within the company. Okay, I think
Right.
Trick is also that guy. Now you'd say give him another year, but I think when I look at Trick Williams, I think he's probably the one that they've given the most time to create and build his craft. They kept him down longer than anyone else.
Yes.
They kept Fatal Influence, JC Jane. She's another one. They kept her down there longer than everyone else out of all the girls. And you can see how good she is by getting all that extra seasoning. You could see how good Trick is because of all that extra seasoning that he got down there. You look at Braun, maybe he should have stayed down a little bit longer because we can see the mistakes that he makes in certain moves in certain spots still. You can see there's still little patches of green in his game because he didn't get that little extra seasoning, which is why I'm putting Trick above them both in that sense. Because even with Gunther, yes, he was NXT Europe, and yeah, he had a little run in NXT, but they brought him up and they put the rocket on him and whatnot. Even to this day, the way they're bringing up Trick Williams on the main roster is just the right way. Everything
Yeah.
that you would expect them to do with Braun, everything that you would expect them to do with Gunther, they've been doing consistently the right way. No one's talking about it because it's the right way. When they're doing the right thing, no one pays attention to it the way it's supposed to be because it's a given. It's supposed to be this way, right? Which is
Right.
why I'm saying he doesn't necessarily have to win the title, but get him into that picture. Put one foot in that door for him. And that's
I
why
get
I'm saying, and it's fresh. Because, okay, say Punk wins. Who's next? Who on SmackDown would you call up next?
as far as challenging Punk.
Yeah. If
Uh,
it's not
Finn,
Cody, if it's not Cody.
I would go Finn.
Okay, well, Finn might win the number one contender match, but I'm just saying long term programming here.
Oh Lord,
Okay, we
Jesus.
we know the guy who wins between Sammy and Finn is going to be the next contender for the
Right,
title, and that match will probably happen on SmackDown or something, right?
right, right.
Or the September pay per view, whatever that is, right?
Then you got, if you get the Albert Carls, that's the tag titles off of him. Uh, Jesus. Damian Priest.
Well, Damien's up there as well, but I mean, he's limited, right? He's limited in what he can do now. He's limited in his movement, which is why he's in the programs that he's in. And the only other guy that I could see coming back is Drew,
Yeah,
right? And so Drew Punk again. I mean, I'm okay with it. It's been far in between,
yeah,
but I would like the roles to be reversed. I think whoever comes out of that title match needs to be a heel holding that belt. And if it's Cody, they want to put it back on, then make Cody a heel.
yeah. They definitely need a new
That's the
formula.
only way I'll accept Cody as champion going forward if he's the heel this time.
They need a new formula. And
Exactly. All right, let's get through this, brother man.
all right.
Penta, Chad Gable, Homecoming, Minnesota. Everyone was shitting on the booking and how they were treating Chad Gable when he finished AAA. Remember, I said to you, sometimes we don't know what the end goal is. We assume, we think, we overthink. Well, this
Yep.
makes sense. This is the story. He came back. He apologized to everybody. He realized that he's not. He doesn't need the title. He's gotten past that. He's evolved as an individual. Chad Gable, Homecoming, feel good story, new champion.
Oh yeah, easily, easily. And the thing is too, I think that's a as DDP used to say, that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's a good thing. With the potential of Brock's last match, you give Minnesota the goodbye and the congratulations. So
Well, I
I'm
mean,
okay.
it's a double-edged sword. Even though Brock lives in Canada, just saying, um, I don't think he's lived in Minnesota for decades. But hey,
Oh
he's still a son of Minnesota. I apologize, man. Pardon me. All right. Now this is very UFC like. Interim WWE Women's Championship ladder match. Why do we need an intern? I love Rhea. You know I love Rhea. Okay, but dude, just take the belt off of her and move on if that's the case. Like we complain that there's already too many titles in wrestling. Well, you know what, man? Honestly, I really feel that there's no need for an interim women's champion, right? I mean, why didn't they do that when Naomi left? The whole story always is that I never lost the title when you come back. You
Here,
know,
here,
like when Seth got injured, why didn't they have a men's interim title? So by that account, Roman's the interim champion.
well, that shows a couple of different things to me. One, they do not want to make Rhea chase again. So we're going to keep you with the title. We're just going to put somebody staff in your place. Two, it shows that now you can set things up and like you can continue the Charlotte uh, J, uh,
Jade
Jade
Cargill,
Cargill deal.
dude, yeah.
Um, it shows how weak the women's division is. And here's another. I It bothers me because I get being the world champion should be everybody's end goal, but why do you have the U.S. champion that never defends the effing title? Why won't you have her defend it against someone who can't get a world title shot? Like, let's put it on. Let her defend against one of the baddies. They need something to do besides getting beat up for Jade.
Well, I mean, we're forgetting about Julia.
Julia, every time she sees a U.S., she needs to run the opposite way. She
Yeah.
needs to stay the hell away from the U.S. title.
Well,
That's an
look,
albatross around her
Tiffany,
poor neck.
Tiffany, Jade, Charlotte, Chelsea Green, and I guess on Friday we will find out who the last person in this match is. But just
It'll
going
probably
off
be
of what
Rhea.
who who
It'll probably be Rhea, so
You
she
know
can
what?
win.
That'd be hilarious. Well, I
Still,
mean, you know what? The women's have done this though. If you think about it, Charlotte entered herself into the Royal Rumble, even though she was the champion. Okay. Just
yeah,
more recently, even more recently, a couple months ago or last month, we had Liv Morgan entering herself into this Queen of the Ring and almost bloody won it. Okay. Almost bloody won it. So same thing could potentially happen here. But you know what? If we're gonna have fun with this, then
right.
Chelsea should be our interim champion.
But I think it will blow the damn roof off the place.
I think so. And I think Sunday is going to be a feel good day two. Wow, I got
Yeah.
balloons. Good day two.
Hey, look at
Where did they go? Come back, balloons. What did I
her.
say to make balloons? And
He
this will
said,
make
feel
it a
good.
good day two for Chelsea Green. Balloons. No? Okay. Fair enough. I'm as good as Harry Potter with the wand. All right, let's move on. Finally, the last match, the go home match, Roman versus Seth. You know what? The promos have been great. The talk in the ring has been amazing. Going back and seeing all the history just makes me feel older and older and older because I was already an adult when all that shit happened. I wasn't even a kid when this shit went down. The retrospect and all of it, right? I think I was having my first kid when all this stuff was happening. So what does that say? Um, Look, we there's not much we need to say. We know what these two guys are capable of. We know how well they can work together. What I'm really excited about this match, it's kind of reminiscent of old school. I'm not saying WrestleMania 28 was old school, but that's one of the last few matches that we got of the old school elk. this match is going to be told in the ring beautifully, I believe, not just by moves, by facial expressions, by glances, by the look in the eye, by the little commentary that they deliver to one another. That's what's going to make this match special. And I hope they can pull it off. And I think Roman finally takes care of the one thing he hasn't been able to do and puts Seth Rollins away for the victory.
I couldn't have said it any better. And I will say this, if we go by booking logic and the final show logic, it's clear to see that Roman is going to win because Seth walked out of there with the last shot. So again, and I will say, I can understand why some people wasn't excited about this. I I look again. I dog WWE on different levels for many different things. This in particularly for me has been great. So now, of course, there's been little things here and there I would tweak if I had the book, but I enjoyed it. It's making me look forward to it. There's three matches, only three that I'm like, I have to see these. If I don't see nothing else, that's the Aldis Gunther match.
Hmm.
You know how I feel about Aldis and me knowing the history. I got to see Brock and Oba because I want to see Oba stab him in the heart and send him away permanently. I've been wanting this for years, so hopefully I get my wish.
The
And
bear wants to see Obafemi, ladies and gentlemen, rip that sword off of Brock's chest
and
and you
stick it in
stab him
his
with
heart.
it.
And I need to see, and I think they're going to tell such a great story because you can say anything you want about Seth. Seth is, to me, is the modern day Ric Flair as far as making a match.
Yeah,
No matter what his opponent does, he can accentuate their weakness and he can bring them up to his level.
yeah. Seth Rollins is Ric Flair and Shawn Michaels combined.
Yes, yes, beautiful,
If they
beautiful.
had a kid.
Yes. And Roman is the Dusty of wrestling now because no matter what Roman does, the only thing that if Roman would talk to the people like Dusty, it would be he would be more Dusty's kid than Cody. But he has that aura about himself. If Hogan and Dusty had a kid,
It'd be
that is wrong.
Roman. Here's the interesting thing about this entire feud. Everything that's happened to this build-up, the bloodline hasn't interfered.
No, he told him.
Rowan's
He
come out on his own for everything, man.
right. What I love, that's another thing. You can see the the personal nature about this for Roman. Roman said, I no, I told them not to touch you. I need this. And even Seth said, you need this to make your legacy because you've never beaten me. And it plays so well. You get to see a different side of Roman is like, yeah, I can come out here and be arrogant. I can do my normal stick, but I'm gonna give you giving truth, I'm gonna give you truth. Little brother, you're number two.
Yeah.
But for me to be without a doubt number one, I got to put you down.
Yeah. And the fact that Seth acknowledges, yeah, I am number two.
Number two, exactly.
You know,
Both
that
of them,
makes it even worse for Roman.
and that's where people, I don't think
But see,
for
this is the problem because I think today's wrestling fan, Bear, you know what? We called this a Triple H era. We called this era. You know what era this has been, honestly? It's been the Catch 22 era. Damned if they do, damned if they
and
don't. And I think that's the era of wrestling in general. It's not an
yes,
AEW wrestling. era. It's not WWE, TNA, New Japan, JCW, indie wrestling. It's the era of wrestling as the Catch 22 era,
Man, I couldn't have called that any better.
right? It's damned if they do, damned if they don't.
It's so funny when I talk to older wrestling people, personalities, how they are disgusted with the product now.
A lot of people
And
are.
and it's like this is not what we grew up on this.
And
And
it's not
my
going to
argument,
be.
well, and what my argument always is to them is like wrestling evolves. You knew it evolved when you were a kid. That's the thing.
Brother, everything's evolved. Every bloody aspect of life is evolved. Okay. Do you know wagon wheels? Remember wagon wheels?
Yes, yes.
When I was a kid, maybe because I was small, I don't know, but man, the wagon wheel was the size of a wagon wheel. Okay. Now the wagon wheel looks like the bolt of a wagon wheel. Double stuffed Oreos used to be just regular Oreos. Okay. I mean, just life in general. 75 cents bought me a bag of chips, a chocolate bar, and a 590 or 20-ounce pop for you guys.
Yep.
Okay. I'm just saying everything evolves. The product evolves, wrestling evolves, boxing evolves, hockey evolves, football evolves. It's not the same game that our dads watch. It's not the same games that we watch as kids. It's the same mentality is not carried over into the dressing rooms as it was in the 70s and 80s. Okay.
And it shouldn't be
No, it
because
shouldn't be.
like I tell people all the time, if you don't evolve, you go away. You got to evolve because not every our fans from our era is not the same today because their attention
Well,
spans are not the same.
no, and, you know,
They get that instant.
but
So
I
to
think the one
evolve,
thing that worked for us, Bear, was, especially you and I, because we stayed with the product. Okay. We stayed with it from childhood.
yes,
Literally, Saturday morning cartoons was rock and wrestling cartoons for us. We were legit little kids when WrestleMania 1 happened, right? I mean,
yeah,
what was I? I was 9 when that happened. You were what, 10, 11?
10, 11, something
Yeah.
like that.
So chances are neither of us even had pubic hair at that point in our life. That's how far
Right,
back we go. Okay.
right.
We were lucky to see Hulk Hogan and all of that. We
Yes,
saw one of the greatest eras of wrestling ever.
exactly.
Okay. Regardless of what it was gimmicky, but that's what the 80s were. It was about gimmicks. Okay.
Yes,
It was about big hair. It was about stupid shit. People say the 80s was probably the worst decade up to date. Well, you know what? In hindsight, maybe, but it was what it was. Okay. Then we were lucky enough to be wrestling fans in the 90s with the Attitude Era, which grabbed us at our age point. We entered all these eras at the right ages, Bear.
yes, yes.
We were young teenagers with the new generation, where Sean and Diesel and Brett and all those guys and Stone Cold, the Taskmaster Stone Cold, all started to emerge at that time. Okay. If that was the dark ages of early 90s wrestling, that's where it was. Then we move into the Attitude Era when we were young adults. Okay, we didn't have curfews anymore. We weren't little kids anymore. We were teenagers going into our young adulthood to a certain extent. When the
Yeah,
Attitude Era at full extreme, I was about 20, 21 now.
yeah. I was
So,
doing and working.
right,
Jesus.
but we could get away with all that shit because it was right in our wheelhouse.
Yep.
Then we get to the 2000s, and I equate that to the next generation era again, right? But we lucked out again. Why? Because in one graduating class, we got Brock Lesnar, Shelton Benjamin, Batista, Randy Orton, and John Cena. Who would have ever thought four of them would have gone and blown up the way that they did?
Exactly.
And they gave us that whole generation of wrestling with amazing supporting cast in Edge, in Big Show, in oh god, Kurt Angle. Like, I mean, it worked. It totally worked.
And
Then we got into the Roman and Shield era, and now we're slowly closing that door on it.
and then you think we got to see so many wrestlers start out and then retire. We saw
Dude,
Sting.
absolutely.
We
All
seen
of them. And we saw
uh
them all in their primes too. It's not like we caught them at the end. Okay, the
yeah,
only guys that we caught at the end were Rowdy Piper, Bad
us.
News Allen. But you know what I'm saying? Those were the guys that we caught at the end. We got everyone else in their prime to their retirement. And unfortunately, with a lot of them, to the grave.
Yes.
Now
But
I'm gonna wrap this up here, Bear, because
all
it's
right.
time for us to get going here. I was watching WrestleMania 3 not because I wanted to, it was just on what's left of what the WWE network is here in Canada. They just keep playing old shows on that channel now.
Oh, okay.
And WrestleMania 3 was on. That was the first match I saw that involved Hogan since his passing. And this was the first time that I had to add his name. Oh, he's not here anymore. The only person left from Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant, WrestleMania 3, I believe is Jesse.
No, Steamboat.
No, 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 no. That match.
Oh, from the match.
Just the
Oh,
match. Just the match. Hell, if you look at the Steamboat match, Steamboat is the only guy left in that match.
yeah.
And Jesse, I guess. I mean, Jesse's the one guy that's still alive, right?
Yeah.
But the only guy left of that match is Jesse. And that kind of hit home because that just made me realize like how many of these guys have I literally watched growing up in their primes to retirement and to the grave.
It's one of those things. And I guess,
It makes me sad.
especially since I just had a birthday recently,
Happy
it,
birthday.
it thank you. Um, it hits home that's like I've been blessed to be able to see so many great moments in
Oh,
wrestling and life
it's in
that
sport. Yeah. We saw
it
Jordan.
oh my see that's what I'm talking about. People don't understand when you talk about Jordan versus LeBron. Unless you've seen Jordan in his prime, man, it's something different. It's something
But dude,
different.
we got him from college and we were old enough to understand what we were watching. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, when I watched Maradona play, I was a kid. So I knew he was great, but I didn't realize what I was witnessing.
Exactly.
Okay. But with Jordan, I was there from day one. We saw him get drafted. I was old enough to remember that. I was old enough to watch him play and see what he was actually all about.
I
Uh
remember as a kid, was down in my cousin's place, and me and him, it was the finals, and it was the Lakers and the Bulls. And I was like, ain't no way the Bulls are gonna beat the Lakers. They're a dynasty. Well, I didn't say a dynasty. I think I was like they're the team, blah blah blah. And when they beat them, I had no idea. Like you said, I was watching the start of
Something great.
arguably one of the greatest dynasties
Absolutely.
in modern
No,
basketball
no.
history.
It's like, okay, for basketball, I could say that we saw Magic, Bird, and those guys at their last hurrah. When
Yes.
we saw, McHale, all those guys, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's when I was a basketball fan. All right. Today's basketball does not intrigue me, but the sport's evolved. Okay. And I think a lot of society has evolved sports to the way it is. in terms of how people think and how tough they are and what they think about and how they think about. And that's evident in how games are played today. Right?
Yeah.
I am not against in helping anyone's self-confidence, but you're not helping anyone's self-confidence when everybody gets a medal, even if you're last place.
Yes, yes.
There's no confidence there. All right, you know what? Before we get crazy, and because I feel the switch getting loose, so I've held it as long as I could. I've held it as long as I could, and you know what? Mama T and the Marks are waiting for us.
Yeah,
So let's wrap it up here. So,
Yeah,
ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. Redemption, Montreal. Again, really weird to say, great show, but still weird. But you got to listen to the show and find out what we were talking about. Monday Night Raw, the Art of the Go Home show is dead. Seems like I hope they can figure it out. Resuscitation, defibrillate that to shit, man. We need a good go home show.
yes.
SummerSlam. It looks like Raw and SmackDown Super Show on night 1. And then we get SummerSlam on Sunday. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you're on the West Coast, it starts at 3 p.m. both days, 6 p.m. in the East, and 5 p.m. Central, I guess.
Yes.
I'm Bobby Sampson. He is.
I am Professor Bear,
the master of the jungle. And ladies and gentlemen, I think I realized there's one bear that would be an amazing tag team partner. And that'd be Blue from the Jungle Book.
I think I could get along with Blue.
I think you, Blue, against Cocaine Bear and a partner of his choice would be a better match at SummerSlam than 4 of them combined.
I wish I could argue the point, but I can't.
You can't. Professor and the Samp are out.
They're Professor and the Samp, yes, Professor and the Samp. One's a historian, the other loves to chant. They talk about the fights, all the slams and lights. It's wrestling mayhem day and night. They're Professor and the Samp, yes, Professor and the Samp. Their takes are quite insane, the wrestling world's their game. They break it down, they call it out. From AEW to SmackDown.